it's me, Jay, your GM. I use he, them.
And hello, it is me, your heir. And this, oh, I use he, him, right? That's another
Yeah,
part.
yeah, yeah.
And this is J on Air, space, Rimnos, otherwise known as Rules You Might Not Otherwise See, Part 2, Draw Steel Edition, Big City Lights is the full title.
I'm gonna put that whole
And
thing
we're
on
going to talk
screen.
about go ahead and fit all those. I want it in fucking the animated
hmm
motion text. I
hmm
want it all flying in with the letters being all rubbery. You can do that, right? Great. Um, yeah, so we're going to talk about a few other rules in Draw Steel you might not be as familiar with, or maybe aren't adjudicating perfectly correctly, that we're hoping to help with from our experience starting to play a Draw Steel campaign. So, Jay, what are we kicking off with in this episode?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at the notes you sent me, so I don't know why you threw to me, but they are, it's can't cut corners. So it's the inability to take a diagonal through a corner.
So a corner like of a structure or something like that, right? Like you can't
hmm
like basically teleport through the edge of a building,
hmm
which you can normally move diagonally. Draw steel does exist in non-Euclidean space, so a diagonal doesn't cost you any more movement than the typical cardinal direction movement. But it would cost you more movement if you're trying to move around, like we're saying, the intersection of two walls of a keep or something. You do have to actually move the extra square in order to get there.
hmm Um, so the next one is the push, the forced movement mechanics here. Like, this is one thing that I kind of struggled to visualize in my head when I first started playing,
Me
because the
too.
shapes of the forced movement are not quite what you'd expect, but they make sense in the sense of like diagonals don't cost extra movement. So this is the shape that a slide or a push could do if diagonals don't cost extra movement. For example, there's some weirdness where like enemies can kind of double back on themselves with a push if you get far enough with the push. Anyway, yeah. So why did you
So
want to bring
yeah,
this
the
up?
Well, so the rules for draw steel
hmm
are essentially that for a push to be a push or a pull to be legal, for a push to be legal, for example,
hmm
the creature just has to be one square further away from you for each square of push you do, which can lead to, because the pushes are described as straight as opposed to slides, which allow for linear pushing. Um, you would think that only straight lines out from you, the again cardinal directions, including like your
Well,
northeasts and southwests,
hmm
would be legal. But we can see in this example here, in which Jay is going to put on the screen and
hmm
maybe even animate. I'm putting so much fucking post production work on him this time, folks. This episode's never coming out. Um, so you can see here where it says push two, it shows in that grayed out area all the legal squares to which this creature can be pushed.
hmm
And you can see here that like if it goes to the square directly left of it, directly west of it, and then it goes northwest, that's not really a straight line through the squares, but it is a legal push that you could do. You can see the same kind of weirdness here with pull is the character just near that highlight of the pull in the blue there gets pulled one square east. If they then move one square north, they are technically further away by one square to the puller. So that is a legal pull, even though it's not necessarily pulling them closer. It's a weird thing to kind of wrap your head around. But once you've seen it laid out with like these sorts of templates, you get a sense of how it works.
I think for me the hardest part was always remembering to start counting the squares away from behind the NPC, the character, because I kept wanting to like push an enemy to the left or to the right, and that's not allowed. It has to be like it can be to the left but behind, so diagonally backwards. Now, I mean, it is like I understand that, like, you can move them through the squares in a non-straight line, and therefore, like, potentially clip them into an AoE or something like that, but the end result is always a straight line away from you. It's just the path they take to get there is not necessarily a straight line.
Yeah, is a little loopy, yeah, but you are
Yeah.
correct that eventually it is a quote-unquote straight line, yes.
But yeah, you can definitely get up to some shenanigans with these movements for sure to clip people.
And then you get
AoEs
into
and stuff.
slide, which is just fucking do whatever you want.
Do
Put them
whatever
wherever you want, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's like
Yeah.
telekinetic, just flinging somebody around. So yeah, absolutely.
Pretty much.
All right, so next up was opportunity attacks. Why did you want to talk about opportunity attacks? They feel like pretty straightforward to me.
Well, most importantly, because they are a free triggered action. I think a lot of people might assume they eat up your triggered action, as they do in 5e. They eat up your reaction. But no, in Draw Steel, opportunity attacks are a freebie. You just get to do them. But the most important thing is, in order to avoid opportunity attacks, using your move action, you can disengage, which chops your speed down from normally around 6 squares or more, 5 squares or more rather, to only 2, but you don't provoke opportunity attacks when you do it. However, if the creature that's trying to take an opportunity attack on you has a Bane or double Bane on that power roll, they can't make an opportunity attack. So there's actually some strategic benefit if you have a signature ability or heroic ability that would enforce a Bane or a double Bane upon the creature you're trying to get away from. You can use that, maybe do a bit of damage, and then run away at your full speed, and they can't opportunity attack you. So there are better options than disengage sometimes if you can inflict a Bane or double Bane on your enemy.
Right. Which is nice. It adds another layer of tactics to combat and allows a player who is in a dangerous situation to start thinking creatively how to get out of that situation. Is to have any tool at my disposal to give them a Bane on their attack, and I trip them or something like that. Like something to give them a Bane, and then I can break engagement safely, which I think is cool. So the next one is one I actually brought to you, sort of, which is we were having a discussion about a ability that was basically
A
sort of
sensor
like
ability, yeah.
Yeah, that was sort of like Spirit Guardians from D&D. It creates an area of effect around you where enemies take damage, and if they enter the area, they take the damage. So we were talking about, oh no, this could be one of those things where people could like grab onto somebody and drag them in and out of the area 3 times to give them multiple procs. And I was like, oh, I hate abilities like that. That's so stupid. So I went to the Draw Steel Discord and was asking them about it. Like, hey, is this real? Is this legit? Like, is this like as strong as it seems? And they were like, oh, well, so grabbing a guy and taking him into the area is not forced movement, and the ability only procs on forced movement or willing movement. But there's apparently a third type of movement in this game, which is like not forced, unwilling movement. So like grabbing somebody and dragging them in and out of an area is not forced movement, but just unwilling movement. Same for falling. Falling is also not forced movement, just unwilling movement. And these do not provoke that or prompt that ability. Which is like so, like, there's 3 kinds of movement? So blown
Right?
away.
When you said it, I was like, what are you talking about? And then, yeah, we went to the rules glossary at the start of the Heroes book, and lo and behold, force movement, there's only 3 types. When a creature is subject to a pull, a push, or a slide. So that sensor ability, which creates that aura around them, like if you have a talent which has a ton of different abilities to move creatures around, slide them around with their mind, you might be able to proc it a bunch of times, but just having your, good old brute fury or tactician or whatever go in and grab them and try to drag them in and out will not proc it multiple times like it will for all the emanation effects in ye old 5e Dungeons and Dragons 2024. So I was actually
or the even more stupid 5.5 version, which is where you grab the freaking cleric and drag him around
and run them like a
like
a football.
Fucking hate that. I hate that so much. So yes, unfortunately,
the
in this
strategy.
game, a good game, you cannot do this.
Yeah, as soon as your cleric's best use of their action is to hold action to proc Spirit Guardians a second time, I feel
Hmm.
like we've lost the plot tactically. So,
Once your
yeah,
best
I was
option is
really.
to have the monk pick your cleric up and run him around the battlefield like in a baby papoose, I think we've lost the fucking plot for sure.
So I was really actually buoyed to see like, oh, force movement is defined, and okay, that's
Mm.
really smart. Like the amount of thought that's gone in to Draw Steel's tactical combat is just mwah, chef's kiss. Like every
Yeah.
time we learn something new, it's always so well thought out and so well balanced. It just makes me happy.
Yeah, and there are a couple of abilities, like you go to the Discord and people will tell you there's a couple of abilities that are still somewhat broken. Um, a couple of things that still slip through the cracks, but you can tell it is a game that has been play tested. Like the thing about
Mhm.
D&D is that you don't have to get to any of the broken stuff. Like you don't have to like go into any of the edge cases to break that game. You just take some of the spells they give you on level up, and the game's
Mhm.
broken. Like you take hypnotic pattern, you take wall of force. Your DM can just like hand you the book and be like, "Oh, we're done here. We don't need to do this. Like waste
You know
our
what?
time."
You run this fucking game, and
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
do
yeah.
this bullshit, and then I'll have fun, and you can cry.
No, it's not even that. It's just like if you don't want to play, we didn't have to play, man. You could have told me we could be playing a board game right now. I like Mysterium. We
Yeah,
can
yeah.
go do that. Like if you didn't want to play D&D anymore, you didn't have to take Force Cage. You could have just talked to me. Um, no, I
Taking
get.
Force Cage is the impolite way of saying I wanted to play code names.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Or Pathfinder. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pathfinder. I'm sure a
You're
game
like,
that has
hey
no broken
DM.
features in it whatsoever.
Absolutely. And like you're like, hey DM, I want to play Daggerheart, and your DM's like, oh sure, let's try that out when the campaign ends, and you're like, okay, well, Force Cage, we're done here. Yeah, no. No, it's just great how in Draw Steel the abilities just generally speaking work, and I would say like of all these like Rimnos rules that we've gone through in Draw Steel, ultimately I do feel that all the rules are basically trying to enforce a mentality of like you can't trick the game and the game's not trying to trick you. Like things work sort of how you'd expect them to work, and things that feel like they shouldn't be working like that generally speaking don't. So like hiding just sort of works how you'd expect it to work, and it has rules and caveats in there that specifically say it doesn't work in the silly way that it shouldn't work. It just works how you'd expect it to work. Same for force movement, same for like clipping a corner on moving diagonals. A lot of these like little rimnos rules are rules that ultimately come back to the game's not trying to trick you. You can't take advantage of the game. The game's just supposed to be played for fun in a straightforward way. And I think that's great. I think it's good when games are good, and I think it sucks when they're bad.
Yeah, we are not. We are creating an airtight case against all the rules lawyers out there. Don't come to Draw Steel. You've already lost.
That's not technically true. Listen, I will. Listen, if you really want to break this game, all right, I will give you the inside scoop. If you go to Reddit, you look up a build
No,
about
that's the
dropping.
next video. The next video. Destroy your director with this one weird
Yeah.
trick.
Yeah,
Keep
you
him
go-
hooked, okay? That's how YouTube work.
Just go to Reddit and look for rules for dropping a guy. Trust me on that. You'll see. All right. Thank you very much for joining us. As always, it was a great time looking at these rules. Next week, who knows what we'll be talking about? Even we don't. But until then, goodbye.
Goodbye.